Natalie, where are we going to next?
Well, we're going back in time, Max.
Oh, could you be a little bit more specific? I can't really put that into my GPS.
We're going to meet Erez in the old city of Jaffa.
All right, let's do it.
It'll be fun, I promise.
Okay, I buy it.
I'm here on the very top of the old city of Jaffa with professional tour guide Erez Landau, CEO of Erez Israel Tours. Erez, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for coming.
Tell us a little bit about what we're going to see on today.
So today we're going to explore by far the most attractive tourist attraction that Tel Aviv has to offer, and that's the old city of Jaffa. And what we're going to do today is a travel in time. Because if there's something that attracted a lot of people throughout the ages to this area, is the concept of fate. You know, people believe that there's something special about this place. There's a unique energy in the Holy Land. And this is why it's so beautiful to see pilgrimage are coming over, Jews from the diaspora coming back to Israel, establishing this modern country. And when you travel in Jaffa, you can see 4,000 years of history in one small territory. Like down below, we're going to see an Egyptian gate from 14th century BC. And look here at the modern city of Tel Aviv. So beautiful. And what connects it all? It's the fate. And this is what we're also going to cross through the Statue of Fate, which would lead us down to the port. And you know, the port, the beach, this is one of the best things that Tel Aviv has to offer, and that's what we're going to explore as well.
Okay, let's check it out.
Yalla.
So, what is the statue over here behind us?
So this is called the Statue of Fate. It was made by Danny Capri, and it commemorates 3 biblical stories. One is the binding of Isaac, second one is the dream of Jacob, and the third one is the conquering of Jericho, which is like the vision, the promise, and the execution for the Israelites to come and conquer the Holy Land and live here happily ever after. And what I like is that we have this, and like I told you before, we have the beach on the other side. We have the sea. And when you look at the sea, there's something special about it. You cannot see what there is beyond. You know that Cyprus is over there, you know that America is over there, but you cannot really see it. And that's the concept of fate. For example, Abraham the father, he was the first Hebrew man. Hebrew comes from a word in Hebrew, which is Ivri. Ivri comes from the word me'ever, which means beyond. He was the first person to see beyond the reality, beyond the materialistic things, and see that there's something that connects us all together. And this is what fate is all about. So what we've got over here is the wishing bridge, and they spread all the different zodiac signs, and there is a costume that everybody come, they pick their zodiac sign, touch it, they look over the sea, and then they make a wish. So you're Leo?
I'm a Leo, king of the jungle.
Yalla.
I have to say it out loud?
Nah, it's your own. So you grew up in America, right?
Yeah.
You know Jesus was a Jew, right?
Mm-hmm.
So have you ever wondered why Christian people are allowed to eat seafood and pork and whatever they want, and Jewish people have to keep it kosher? Have you ever wondered about that?
Maybe.
Maybe. Well, I don't know, I found it to be fascinating, and this is why I did a little research, and what I found out is that here in the old city of Jaffa, we have this house that according to the New Testament and certain perception used to belong to Simon the Tenant. Who is that? After Jesus passed away and he was crucified on the cross, his disciples were walking the country, and the most important one obviously is Petrus. And all of a sudden, somebody came up to Petrus. His name was Simon. He says, "You gotta help me out. You gotta help me out, my daughter." And Petrus is coming over to his house, and he was able to heal his daughter. So Simon asked, "How can I repay you? How can I do something for you?" And Petrus said, "No, we don't need nothing." But he begged, "Let me do something for you." And he said, "You know what, just give us a place to stay." So he said, "You know, my house, I'm a tenant, my house pretty smells, but you can stay up on the roof." So they stayed on the roof and they started baking bread, and all of a sudden Petrus fell asleep. And in his dream an angel came to him, and he came to him with what we would call today like a seafood plate. And he said, "Here, eat." And Petrus was like, No, it's not kosher, I'm not allowed to eat that." And then he woke up, as if it was a nightmare. And then he fell asleep again. And again the same dream. And then he woke up as if it was a nightmare. And then he fell asleep again. And then in the third time, the angel is coming up to him and says, "Whatever God has created, who are you to say that it's unpurified? Here, eat." And then he did something that, you know, every person that doesn't eat kosher food would do. He take the shrimps, tasted it. That's pretty lovely. And from that moment on, Christian people, they're allowed to eat whatever they want. And Jews, they still keep it kosher.
All because of this one dream that this guy had.
Apparently, it's all about dreaming and visions. When it comes to fate, there's not too many evidence to some of the stories that people believe for generations and generations. Not like today that you can pull out your iPhone and say like, okay, where was the house? What is this? So there were a lot of rumors and a lot of people, making up stories, and the better the story, the better the fate.
Mm-hmm. So who's Zakarian? Mishpachat Zakarian.
So that's an interesting story. We are here in the old city of Jaffa, and there's a big sign that says that this is Simon the Tenant's house. And then there's a Jewish family named the Zakarian family who claims that this is their house. And above that we see a sign in Osman language that basically claims that it belongs to an Osman family before that. And then there's a sign of the state of Israel that says this house belongs to the state of Israel and nobody is allowed in, and there's even a camera over here. And if you want, this is the whole Middle East conflict in a nutshell. A lot of people that claim that something belongs to them and then nobody gets to enjoy it. So what we've got over here is the port of Jaffa. And like we spoke about it before, all the nations, all the big leaders that came to the city of Jaffa, they came through the port. And when you go backwards to the biblical times, there's a really interesting story that actually happens just over here, and that's the story about Jonas the prophet that received the mission from God to go speak to the people of Nineveh, Assyria of today, and tell them that if they don't change their ways, they're going to be doomed, just like happened to Sodom and Gomorrah. Now, Jonas, he had a little bit of a hard time fulfilling the mission because he said, I see all the assimilation, all the corruption that goes on among the Jews. You want me to go to Nineveh and speak to the other people? They'll probably kill me just for telling them that. So he decided to run away from his destiny. He's coming over here to the port of Jaffa and he's jumping on one of the boats and he went to sleep. And all of a sudden there was a big storm. And in ancient times there was this kind of method that if something goes wrong, you have to run a lottery, and whoever comes up in that lottery, he's the one to be blamed. And they found out that Jonah is the one to be blamed for. So they wake him up and like, hey you, why all this storm is happening to us? He said, yeah, I'm Jonas, I'm a prophet, I was supposed to deliver a mission, but I didn't do it. This is why the storm is happening. So what do you think we should do with you right now? Just throw me to the water. Are you serious? Yeah, throw me to the water, that's fine. I don't want to fulfill my mission.
But I'm in.
Yeah, he was quite courageous or stupid, one or the other. And what we know is that all of a sudden a big fish ate him. And he sat in that belly of that big fish, a whale of today, and he begged God to release him. And as God released him after 3 days, the big fish spit him on the ports of Jaffa. He went up to Nineveh, he came to the king of Nineveh, he says, listen, my name is Jonas, I'm a prophet. My God told me to tell you that if you don't change your ways, it's gonna be pretty bad. Okay, we will change our way. He actually listened to him. They all changed their way. Of course.
Survived from being eaten by a whale.
Well, we can't take it for granted that a foreigner king all of a sudden listened to your suggestion. And what is interesting about it is that today people that teach Kabbalah, they use that story in order to speak about the higher purpose of the Jewish people to bring a spiritual revolution to the world. And they say that the storm that we're experiencing, whether it's hurricanes, Santa Catarinas, terrorism, all of this really, really awful things that we're experiencing is just like that storm that Jonas and that boat, the people on the boat were experiencing at that time. So apparently Jews, you have to bring a spiritual revolution. You have to make people realize that there's a world that we all have to live here together. We're all one. We're all here to make this world a better place. And it's about love and translating into daily actions. But until that happens, the storm continues.
Very interesting, it is. So we've seen many different things today, thanks to Erez in the old city of Jaffa.
Yeah, it was beautiful. We started at the top garden, we saw the view from above, and then we went down between the alleys. We made a wish on the wishing bridge, and then we went down, we saw the place that distinguished between people who eat kosher to people who don't eat kosher. We heard about Jonas the prophet, and now we're underneath the clock. It was just like a travel in time, and I'm wondering, after all this time we've been spending together, what was your favorite part of the tour?
My favorite part of the tour has to be when I made a wish in front of the zodiac signs on that bridge. That was really nice.
I saw you were having a moment there.
Yes, I did. What are the general feedback that the people on your tours have?
So I have to say that Jaffa, because it's like an entering spot to the state of Israel, even in ancient times, it's really just like in a nutshell the Israeli experience. People usually have like a life-changing experience because there's not many places in the world that the tour also involved emotion and faith. And this is something that we've seen today in Jaffa. And when we speak about Jonas the prophet story, for example, there is a vision towards a better world, something that we're all yearning to see. So when people are coming over here to Israel, it's not what you see in the media. It's something completely different. And this is the general feedback I always get. It's not what I have imagined it. It's a much, it's a very special place. I wish everybody could come over here and experience it themselves.
Okay, so it must be very rewarding for you.
Yeah, I feel very honored to be a part of this.